Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC. Well, good morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom, and we are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. I'm so glad that you've joined us. We've got a lot to cover. We're going to start with some viewer comments, and we're going to get into the various updates from the whole week, as well as news stories. On the program in the 7 o'clock hour, we'll be talking with Greg Tranter. He is a Buffalo Bills super fan, and I know a lot of people call themselves a super fan. I think he goes above and beyond, and you'll hear his story, and he'll tell us about his numerous books, with a new book coming out soon, When Bills Drive, the Buffalo Bills' greatest home games from 73 to 2025. So we'll hear all about that as well. That's a little bit later on. And then I'll tell you about next week's schedule. My goodness. But let's get to viewer comments. Hello, Frank. Well, hello. At least 25 states are going to cut SNAP benefits beginning November the 1st. Given the spend, tax of some of these more idiotic states, that's worded strange. Some more idiotic state is one of them. Clue, it is a state that seeks to outlaw natural gas. We're actually going to talk about that a little bit later on, as we've talked about it so extensively on this program. More generally, guess which blue states are among those who are cutting SNAP benefits? Hint, each of those states are also responsible for keeping the government closed. So the blue states that are warning about potential SNAP cuts, according to this viewer: California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Minnesota, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, Vermont, Virginia, Washington. These states are among those that may face significant impacts on food assistance programs if the government shuts down. I don't know. Is Pennsylvania considered a blue state? But anyway, good point. We're going to be talking about the cut and SNAP benefits and what people are saying about that here in just a little bit. Mark writes in and he says, good morning. Well, good morning, Mark. An alleged gambling scandal has rocked the NBA. Boy, it sure has. We're not going to talk too much about it, but it is worth giving you a briefer on it if you have not heard the news. The FBI arrested Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Not a huge basketball fan. Former player and coach Damon Jones, and Portland Trailblazers current head coach Chauncey Billups yesterday for allegedly participating in 2 illegal gambling operations. This is interesting because when I first heard gambling scandal rocks NBA, you probably thought, oh, they were fixing games. There's insider information that they gave to people about certain players that would be out, but it wasn't outright fixing a game. This was more about poker. But when it comes to the insider trading allegations, in one instance, Rozier and co-conspirators allegedly split hundreds of thousands of dollars from a bet the individual made after Rozier told them he would leave the game early because of an injury. The indictment also accuses Jones of leaking the injury status of LeBron James before a February 2023 game. And federal officials claim the bets were placed on the Charlotte Hornets, Portland Trailblazers, Los Angeles Lakers, and the Toronto Raptors, which an official mistakenly referred to as the Toronto Rangers in a press conference. Okay. Oh, man, we got the fly in here. If you see that, if you see me get distracted, I apologize. But the wildest accusations come that prosecutors say a mafia-linked illegal poker game got Billups and Jones to act as celebrity players to attract victims to be swindled out of their money. The games were rigged with table X-ray machines, secret cameras and card trays, and a card shuffler machine that fed info to someone behind the scenes. Players in the scheme also allegedly wore contact lenses and glasses that enabled them to read pre-marked cards. Now, the big problem for the NBA is that this was essentially announced the day after they opened the season. More than 30 people were arrested in 11 states yesterday, and FBI Director Kash Patel said tens of millions of dollars were stolen over the course of the scam. The NBA, which has partnerships with betting companies like FanDuel and DraftKings, said in a statement that Rozier and Billups were placed on immediate leave from the league. Rozier's lawyer said he would fight the charges, and the FBI publicly arrested him for a photo op. Now, Billups just got into the Hall of Fame last year. So that's not something I'm going to focus on a lot here this morning. This fly is going to be something. But I wanted to mention it in this context. The ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. We talk about Stephen A. Smith a lot. And because he has, well, not a lot, but he has various takes, and sometimes people would say he's spot on. Other times you would say he couldn't be farther off the mark. This sounds like farther off the mark. He couldn't be farther off the mark. ESPN's Stephen A. Smith claims that the NBA gambling investigation is Trump's revenge. What? He claims that Trump is coming to arrest and imprison anyone who disagrees with him, which was the practice during the Biden years, actually. We have some updates on that. Smith, he spun this idea about some type of revenge on the NBA. This is what he said. Remember, Trump has a long, long history connected to the world of sports because he had those casinos. Where do you think folks were coming half the time? I'm not talking about individuals. I'm talking about the culture. When people want to go to a casino, when people want to gamble, when people want to party or whatever the case may be, this was kind of a connection to that. Don't be surprised if the WNBA is next on his list, because when you've got all these protests that have been coming out there and people have been protesting against him and what have you, this man is coming. He's coming. I'm watching a press conference with the director of the FBI. Tell me when we've seen that. We've seen accusations before. We've seen athletes get in trouble with the law before. You don't see the director of the FBI having a press conference. It's not coincidental. It's not an accident. It's a statement. It's a warning that more is coming. In his eyes, folks try to throw Trump in jail. In his eyes, he's innocent, and they're trying to put me behind bars. I'm getting everybody he's not playing. This is just the tip of the iceberg. It's very concerning. We don't know where this is going to go, but everybody better brace themselves because he is coming. Some type of revenge. Well, Kash Patel said, I'm the FBI director. I decide which arrests to conduct and which not to conduct. And then in reference to Stephen A. Smith's direct quote, He said, that may be the single dumbest thing I have ever heard out of anyone in modern history, and I live most of my time in Washington, D.C. Good for Kash Patel. It's right up there with Adam Schiff. We arrest people for crimes. Yes, I mean, you've got a mafia-linked gambling scandal, and somehow Trump, what, is he suggesting manufacture that, or was looking extra carefully for something illegal to go after? What a odd scenario. A comment from a viewer. Pete Rose got driven out of baseball for the same reason. In addition, he was not inducted into the Hall of Fame. And correct me if I'm wrong, at least allegedly, Pete Rose gambled on his own team, was always kind of the argument. He is getting into the Hall of Fame, but his family isn't accepting it. Isn't that what happened? This was a little while ago. Posthumously, they were going to put him in the Hall, and basically his family said, we don't want it anymore. You wait until he died. Yeah, I mean, they kept him out of the Hall of Fame. And what he did in comparison, well, look at the gambling ads during sporting events now. You'll be watching a football game. They'll tell you how the spread is changing as the game is going on. It's just interesting. And you see players getting caught up in this all the time. What did Pete Rose famously say before he passed away on Twitter? If I had a translator, I'd be in the Hall of Fame today. Because you had that baseball player blaming his translator on all those gambling debts. But yes, but that is a very good point. Sending you a virtual fly swatter. Thank you very much. Out of all this whole office, it's got to be right here. I think he's taking a nap. We'll find him hopefully during commercial break. I shouldn't get arrogant because I probably won't get him during commercial break. One last thing, I received this, and I can't read the whole thing. We just don't have time for it, but it's a very good point. And then we're going to get into some breaking stories, also some updates on stories from throughout the week. But Gabrielle Callas is a program manager for Paragon Health Institute. And they asked her about Obamacare premiums going up and what's going on with the government shutdown. All right, we're going to take a break. I'm going to take care of this. Let me take a break. But anyway, I'll tell you what she had to say just quickly. I don't want to go through all the numbers. But basically what it reads is, I'm taking a break because it's too close to the microphone. This is dangerous. I don't want it to fly into my mouth. All right, we'll be right back. But frankly speaking, stay with us.
You can bet on all the sports, all the players, all the action, all the time. Now you've just got to ask yourself, should I? Take a pause to stay in control and think about how much time you spend betting. A pause can help you if you're watching your wagers more than the game. Pausing can get you back to enjoying time with those around you. Visit oasas.ny.gov and take our survey to see if your wagering is something to worry about. Take a pause and get back into the game.
This isn't your library. Create with the 3D printer. Release your inner audio engineer or sewing machine riddles, all with your library card. Go to getyourlibrarycard.com today.
It started with a cake of ivory soap. The teacher said, well, each one of you has a cake of ivory soap. See what you can make. And I did a bird. I'm like a farmer that plants the cornfield and can't wait to see the sprouts and the corn come up and then harvest it. I'm sort of like that.
Fox Sports app isn't just any sports app. It's your sports app. Your teams, your highlights, your scores. Get more of what you want. To the end zone. Stream your teams live. It's free with your pay TV subscription. Grab your Fox Sports app today.
It's a season of Sherry.
Having a good time has always been my number one goal. I tend to get crazy. At my age, I should not be jumping up and down like that. And if you don't know what I mean, ask your mama. The young ones, y'all like, we don't know what you're talking about. But I promise you, in 30 years, you will.
It's the best time in daytime.
Weekdays at 2 p.m. on Big Fox.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street. A fly frozen up here? Hold on. All right. I think we froze there for just a second. I just saw an announcement. Yes, we are now a fly-free Hesselson's studio. We got a comment from a viewer. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning. When you suffer from TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome, everything is President Trump's fault. Wonder if he sent your fly to Stephen A. Smith saying that hundreds of millions of dollar gambling scandal is somehow Trump getting payback. I've got to say, Kash Patel's line was great. That may be the single dumbest thing I've ever heard out of anyone in modern history, and I live most of my time in Washington, D.C. All right, I was talking about this, and I got distracted because of the fly, and it's gone. That is not the breaking story of the day. But Gabrielle Calles, the program manager of Paragon Health Institute, was talking about the Obamacare, the premiums, and what's causing the government shutdown. I want to just mention this. We're going to talk about the government shutdown a little bit later on. But expirations of the Biden COVID credits, she says, is not the primary driver of skyrocketing ACA, Affordable Care Act plan premiums, and overall affordability. According to the insurers themselves, preliminary 2026 benchmark rate filings revealed that the expiration of Biden's COVID credits, a temporary pandemic measure enhancing subsidies for ACA enrollees, accounts for only 4% of the expected 20% average premium increase next year. In other words, the sharp jump in premiums cannot be blamed on the phase out of the enhanced subsidies. The real drivers are the same structural flaws that have plagued Obamacare since 2014 and rising health care costs. Now, without getting into all the numbers, she says the question now is not whether premiums are rising, they are. But why and who pays the bill? Under the COVID credits, the federal government has been paying 93% of the premium for the typical enrollee. Wow. Even after the COVID credits expire, the federal government will still cover more than 80% of the typical enrollee's premium through the regular subsidy. Taxpayers, not consumers, will remain the overwhelming source of revenue for insurers selling Affordable Care Act exchange plans. So this is the fault in the system. Thank you to that astute viewer for sending us that. Okay, breaking last night, big story. And this came in late last night. President Trump abruptly called off trade negotiations with Canada after the Ontario government funded an anti-tariff ad campaign featuring the voice of Ronald Reagan. Trump wrote on Truth Social late last night, the Ronald Reagan Foundation has just announced that Canada has fraudulently used an advertisement, which is fake, featuring Ronald Reagan speaking negatively about tariffs. The president said the $75 million ad was made to interfere with the decisions of the U.S. Supreme Court and other courts. Tariffs are very important to the national security and economy of the USA. Based on their erroneous behavior, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated. Uh-oh. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, Ontario Premier Doug Ford unveiled the one-minute ad last week, which uses audio of Reagan suggesting that tariffs don't work in the long term. Do you remember Doug Ford? What was his brother's name? Man, that was a character. The ad would have aired, or will air, I should say, not would have, it will air, on Newsmax, Bloomberg, Fox News, Fox Sports, NBC, CBS, CNBC, ESPN, ABC, and local stations in the U.S., according to the CBC. Wow. So a $75 million ad buy? As Trump noted, the Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute accused the government of Ontario of misrepresenting the 40th president's remarks. The ad campaign uses selective audio and video of President Reagan delivering his radio address to the nation on free and fair trade, dated April 25, 1987. The ad misrepresents the presidential radio address, and the government of Ontario did not seek nor receive permission to use and edit the remarks. The Ronald Reagan Presidential Foundation and Institute is reviewing its legal options in this matter. So because of that $70 million ad buy, Trump is terminating trade talks with Canada. So Doug Ford may be biting off a little bit more than he can chew. We'll find out where that is headed, but a big story last night. Also, yesterday, President Trump said that he will inform Congress of his plans to attack land-based cartel targets in Venezuela as he looks to expand his thus far seaborne military campaign. He said, "We're going to go to Congress. I don't see any loss in going. No reason not to. You know, they will always complain, oh, we should have gone. So we're going to go, definitely." The president turned to Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and told him, "I'd like you to just tell you, let go. Let's go. We'll go. We're going to tell them what we're going to do." And I think they're going to probably like it, except for the radical left lunatics. I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country, okay? We're going to kill them, you know? They're going to be like dead, okay? All right, so that was breaking yesterday. We also learned that former special counsel Jack Smith has notified the House and Senate Judiciary Committee on Thursday that he would like a public hearing to address the many mischaracterizations of his two investigations into President Trump. The letter from Smith's attorney, obtained by Fox News, was sent to House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan and Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley in response to the congressional demands that the former special counsel sit for a closed-door interview. Quote, "Given the many mischaracterization of Mr. Smith's investigations into President Trump's alleged mishandling of classified documents and role in attempting to overturn the results of the 2020 election, Mr. Smith respectfully requests the opportunity to testify in open hearings before the House and Senate Judiciary Committees. During the investigation of President Trump, Mr. Smith steadfastly adhered to established legal standards and Department of Justice guidelines, consistent with his approach throughout his career as a dedicated public servant. Smith, however, wants the Justice Department to affirm that he will not be punished for testifying and provide him documents related to the investigation that he no longer has access to." Wow. Yeah, that was. I'll testify as long as I can't get in any kind of trouble. Oh, did you really? So, good morning, Frank. Well, good morning to you as well. You saw the ad last night, the one that they're talking about with Reagan from Canada? Was it the ad, or was it one of the stations just showing you what it looked like? Or was it actually already broadcasting? Wow. Interesting. Thank you for that. I'm going to have to watch a couple of waves I missed here. I'm going to have to watch it online, see what it looks like. Also, in relationship to court, giving you a quick update here. Oh, we got a few things here about the mayor's race. I don't want to dive too deep into it. We know yesterday Eric Adams, for whatever it's worth, endorsed Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo, you could tell, is getting a little desperate. He is putting out some, we'll say, negative campaign ads and comments about Zohran Mamdani. So we'll talk about that as well. But let's end this segment on this. New York Attorney General Letitia James was photographed yesterday exiting her Brooklyn brownstone for a federal arraignment on mortgage fraud charges in Virginia, where her fugitive grandniece will also be facing a possible restraining order for threatening to punch a school official earlier this month. Oof. James, who appeared at the Walter E. Hoffman U.S. Courthouse at 11, this was yesterday. Okay. 2 hours before, her grandniece, Nakia Thompson, will also appear for, she's going today. I apologize. Okay, I don't know why they made the breaking part about her leaving her house on Thursday. So she actually goes to court today at 11, where she's being indicted by federal grand jury on October 9th for bank fraud and making false claims to a financial institution. 2 hours before that, her grandniece, Nakia Thompson, will appear today at the hearing with an assistant principal at her kids' elementary school who petitioned a Virginia judge for a protective order after Thompson shouted that she would punch her in the blanking face. Well, I guess they could maybe ride together, save some time, save some gas. So anyway, that is your update on Letitia James. She's headed to mortgage fraud hearing today as her, quote, fugitive grandniece is hauled into court on a threat. All right, we got a couple other updates when we come back. Stay with us. We're having fun this morning. I'm going to tell you a little bit later on our upcoming guests. What a busy week of guests. Well, it is that time of year as Saturday, if you're not aware, Saturday begins early voting. So if you're an early voter, remember, Saturday it all kicks off. All right, let's take a short break. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
If you or a loved one regularly used hair relaxers or straighteners and were diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation.
I've used hair relaxers for years. I had no idea they could cause cancer.
Chemical hair relaxers and straighteners have been linked to serious conditions, including several types of cancer. If you used hair relaxers and have been diagnosed with uterine, ovarian, or endometrial cancer, call us now. There's no fee unless we win your case. Call today.
You don't have to go to the gym? The health club is not an option? Come to Hesselson today and see why swim spas and fitness systems can fit into anyone's yard and budget. 12-foot, 14-foot, 15-foot, 18-foot dual temperature hot tub and swim spas are all on display in Hesselson's indoor and outdoor showroom. Try before you buy. 0% interest-free financing options are available on every Hesselson swim spa. Swim and exercise year-round and start making every day better. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
I'm a veteran, and she was injured in the line of duty.
I hurt my leg in a training accident when she was only 2 years old.
She had 7 different surgeries over the span of 9 years, and there were tons of complications.
I couldn't be the mom my kids needed me to be.
She missed so much.
After my last surgery, I got an infection so bad I thought it was going to kill me.
I told her she couldn't leave me yet. There was still so much she had to see. I hadn't even graduated.
I'm doing much better now. I'm an active part of my kids' lives.
She can kick a mean soccer ball.
DAV's been there for me and my family. Through thick and thin, they've had our back.
Every year, DAV helps more than 1 million veterans like Sandy get the health and disability benefits they've earned so they can achieve victories great and small.
My victory is getting my life back. I may have lost my leg, but I've gained so much. I got my joy back.
We got our mom back, thanks to DAV.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. As this viewer said, Curtis Sliwa told Cuomo to go get your own votes. Well, Cuomo's trying. He's getting down and dirty. We'll tell you about that in just a moment. Quick update that I wanted to mention to you. Senator Chuck Grassley yesterday released an April 2022 Justice Department memo showing then Attorney General Merrick Garland, then Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco, and then FBI Director Christopher Wray personally approving an FBI investigation into alleged efforts by Trump campaign associates to obstruct Congress certification of the 2020 election. Grassley posted the 4-page memorandum on X, saying it proves top Biden administration officials personally approved the case, which he referred to as Arctic frost, and that it unleashed unchecked government powers at the highest level. My oversight will continue, he said. Okay, we went yesterday, a big topic on the program, not a big topic, but a topic we discussed quite a bit, was the ballroom, the East Wing ballroom, because the announcement came that Trump would have to tear down the East Wing. I still haven't heard what they're going to do with all the wood, it just, people would buy those as souvenirs. I'm saying, race that to the top. We can make some money on that. President Trump slammed a Reuters reporter yesterday as third rate after being pressed about his decision to demolish the White House East Wing. Now, one thing I've noticed, and you'll find it yourself if you are on social media or depending on what news outlet you go to, you'll see that they are willfully misleading you and not telling you that taxpayers are not paying for it. I saw a post where someone thought they were very brilliant, and they were saying, this is what 300 million, this is 300 million, and we don't have money, again, privately donated. But just keep that in mind. That's going to be one way that the media tries to misrepresent it, and maybe your far left friends on social media. Journalist Jeff Mason drew the president's wrath when he asked during a televised exchange whether Trump had misled the public about the extent of the demolition. Trump said, I haven't been transparent, really? I've shown this to everybody that would listen. Third-rate reporters didn't see it because they didn't look. You're a third-rate reporter, always have been. Third-rate reporters didn't look. But anybody that asked, these pictures have been in newspapers. They have been all over the place, and we're very proud of it. It's gotten great reviews. He held up the mock-up of the planned ballroom, which features gold chandeliers and a Mar-a-Lago-style decor. I think we've been more transparent than anybody's ever been, he said. Now, I will say, I thought yesterday was it? Yeah, yesterday they released the list of all the donors because again, it's not taxpayer money. We have to stress that point because the mainstream media will not. They want you to believe at a time of a government shutdown, the taxpayers aren't paying the military, but they're paying for this ballroom. That is not the case. Following the dressing down, the White House posted a video from 2020 in which the quote third-rate loser, end quote, Mason wore a COVID mask during an outdoor news conference. Now, Trump initially said the new ballroom addition would be near the East Wing, but not touching it. And then, of course, that changed. On Tuesday, we had a lot on the left calling it illegal, calling it another part of Trump's authoritarianism. We had that piece yesterday that suggested that this shows that Trump plans on never leaving the White House. Just a quick update on that. Josh Hawley also going after a reporter when it comes to the new ballroom. He reminded liberals Wednesday of how many of them wanted historical artifacts destroyed when he asked about Trump tearing down the East Wing. And this is a point we had many viewers make this point as well yesterday. Hawley said, I made this point yesterday that I hear all of a sudden from my liberal friends that they're very concerned about our history. Really? These were the same people who tore down every statue they could get their hands on in the last 4 years. That's a good point. On the topic of the building's significance, Raju asked Hawley, what about just uprooting this is an iconic building. They're making it also sound, if you recall some of the quotes I brought to you yesterday, they're making it sound as if he's tearing down the whole White House. They don't show you the actual layout of the grounds. They're on a full, they always are, but this seems like an extra level of misleading because they're not telling you about this being privately funded. They're presenting it as if this is the destruction of the complete White House. They're saying it's illegal. But Hawley did say he was not troubled by the demolition and argued that critics on the left lack credibility, pointing to past efforts to remove monuments of U.S. figures amid racial justice protests. Christopher Columbus, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, they didn't have any concern for history then. Now, all of a sudden, they're like, oh, that facade of the East Wing is iconic. Oh, give me a break. Give me a break. Exactly. All right, there's your update on that. Okay. Oh, comment from a viewer regarding The Fly. Better watch out. The animal rights groups could be watching. You're right. Why do you think I waited till break to swing at it? I didn't need that hassle. So, yes, I appreciate it that we are fly free here for the time being. Okay. Yeah, we're doing good. Well, how about this? I got a couple quick announcements. Bear with me. I want a couple things that I want to remind you of before, and we don't necessarily have to take a break right now. We might get into another topic, but I remembered this, and I don't want to forget it. That's not the right one, even though I changed it. Hold on. All right. Nope. All right. So I'm not going to be able to find it. Oh, yeah. There's one of them. The book sale. That's starting this Saturday. Our good friends at the Friends of the Southeast Steuben County Library. They have their yearly book sale that so many people look forward to. That is coming up on Saturday, and those are all the days and times. And as you see there, the prices, of course, go down throughout the week. So don't miss that. There is also, and for whatever reason, I'm not going to be able to find it. And I don't want to go through all my various screens there, but I'll bring it up to you. But don't forget, Drug Take Back Day is tomorrow as well. But we'll get you that information here in just a little bit. Okay. What a week we've had of guests, and I thank all of our guests for being on the program. Let me give you a little quick rundown of today and next week, if you don't mind, just so you can mark your calendar. Well, tomorrow, remember, early voting begins. Then on Monday, we'll have representatives from the Career Development Council to tell us about their 50th anniversary. That's Monday. Tuesday, Daniel Kane will round out our hat trick of getting every Elmira City Court judge candidate on the program. If you missed our other two guests, Jordan York and Robert Siglin, who were on the program this week, also running from our city court judge. They are up on YouTube, and they'll also be up on our website. I'm going to try to put all three together at the end for one big YouTube so you can be best informed on what to expect before you head into the voting booth. So that will be on Tuesday, Daniel Kane. Wednesday, Steuben County Sheriff Jim Allard will be joining us live in the studio. And then Thursday, it's been a little too long, and that's on my fault. I'm about a week off here. Joe Sempolinski, former congressman, current state assemblyman, fan favorite, the two, Allard and Joe. We got to get Phil on just to round it out. We'll have some other guests to announce, but that is next week. Our rundown already. Excited about that. All right, as an update, we talked to you about, I think it was a despicable comment by Jen Psaki, and I think it outraged a lot of us because it's okay for liberals to attack women if they are married to a Republican. It's just like it's okay to attack family members, kids, wife, if you are Republican. Look at the difference, how the media went after the Bush daughters as compared to not saying a thing about the Obama daughters. It's different with Trump because they're adults, but remember people saying, hey, we don't think, this is when Barron wasn't 18 yet, basically saying he's still fair game, and then even doing a countdown as soon as he turns 18, we're going after him. So it really is despicable, and it comes as no surprise. But Jen Psaki saying basically that Usha Vance was scared of her husband, these type of things. So a journalist asked J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, what his thoughts were on this as he waited on the tarmac in Tel Aviv, Israel. After he made a face, Vance said, I think it's disgraceful. But of course, the second lady can speak for herself. I'm very lucky to have a wonderful wife, and I know, at least I hope, that my wife feels the same about me. We're going to keep on serving the country together, and I'm honored to have Usha by my side on this trip in particular, but always. Good for him. I don't think he didn't go low. He just said, my wife could speak for herself. But again, the hypocrisy when it comes to comments like that from the left. All right, we got one more thing. I know. Completely unrelated. We're jumping around a lot this morning. Senator Bernie Sanders was asked about the future of Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Some are saying that she may either primary Chuck Schumer or just run if Chuck Schumer decides not to run again. That would be for New York Senator, our senator. Some are saying that maybe she's gearing up for a presidential run. Bernie thinks she would make a formidable presidential candidate in 2028. AOC is positioning herself for a political leap in 2028, whether for president or challenging Chuck Schumer in the primary. Again, it's challenging. I know age-wise he could definitely still run. It's getting there, but for a 6-year term. But I think Trump had a good point saying he's so low in the polls, he may retire just not to have a stunning defeat at the hands of AOC. So she may not need to primary him. So they asked Bernie, and he said that's her decision to make. She's a very, very good politician in the best sense of the word. I have been out on the streets with her. People come up, and how she responds to people so incredibly genuine and open. That's a gift that she has. She comes from the working class. She knows what it's like not to have any money. Sanders said there are other great people who he thinks would be a great presidential candidate on the left. We've got a lot of other great people, such as... Anyway. All right, we got to take a break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Some people who need Social Security disability benefits go to their hearing alone and get turned down. Not every lawyer will appeal a denial after your hearing. I will. I'm Peter Gorton of Lockman & Gorton. I help people win benefits by appealing their denials, including in federal court. But your time to appeal is limited, so call my office now.
Lockman & Gordon, 1-800-698-0567.
This isn't Children's Library. Create with the 3D printer. Release your inner audio engineer or sewing machine riddles, all with your library card. Go to getyourlibrarycard.com today.
Let's run in here.
For what?
Well, there's
kitchen cleaning, home decor, rugs and carpets, even floors, moving candy, toys and games, health and beauty, household mates, patio and garden deals, outdoor arts and crafts or steals, all things sporting here and more, even electronics in store. Show your pet some love, and your car could use a lift. Home improvement. Seasonal deals. And by now you get my drift.
That was fun. Save up to 70% off fancy store prices on the brands you love.
Ollie's good stuff cheap.
Everyone has a ritual, that small thing that keeps us focused. A habit we never skip to clear our minds and elevate our performance.
But what do you do to keep your head in the game, to drown out the self-doubt and to support your mental health? Because being your best isn't just about taking care of your body.
It's about taking care of your mind and mental health. Discover the resources you need to keep your mind focused and your mental health a priority.
Football Show breaks down all things NFL. GMFB Overtime.
Check out top highlights, player interviews, special guests, and everything in between. 5 days a week.
GMFB Overtime. It's football for everyone.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. Sorry, that was loud. I just saw I had to fix that. Sometimes we have the music play over. Okay, we are back, broadcasting live and proudly from the Hesselson studio. Let's go to some viewer comments. One viewer reminding me, I had said I was going to reach out to Mayor Buckley from Hornell. I am going to. That's my fault. I've been overbooked, as you can tell, as we've had a couple days this week with 2 guests. That is a good problem to have, but I know we have a lot to talk to the mayor about, especially when we talk about the support that Hornell had for Langworthy's ban on ban. So I will get a hold of him and get that in the books, but that's totally on me. October is always a tough one because there's a lot of events going on, and also we've got the elections coming up. So we're excited to have all these candidates on. We're excited to have all these guests on. I have dropped the ball on reaching out to some people I have meant to, so I apologize over that. Comment from a different viewer. I don't know what these professional sports were thinking when they put gambling so close to them. This is only going to get worse. I would agree with that. I think, and then you had ESPN getting involved with sports betting. I think sports betting, I don't think it's always going to be huge names like this where you have a head coach. But think of the player because when you think about the head coach and you think about the other guy, the way I understand it, I don't watch NBA, they're multimillionaires anyway. So what is it that keeps drawing them to do this? Take the chance. Is it that adrenaline rush? Is it that always needing to win mentality? I think that those are probably a mix of those. But think about the guy that isn't making that much, is making life-changing money, but not maybe to the level they want, that next level. Think how easy it is to get that insider information in the locker room. So I'm with you. I don't think it's going away. I think it's just going to embarrass the MLB more for their lifetime ban, essentially, of Pete Rose, now posthumously putting him in the Hall of Fame. I think it just shows how petty they were that whole time, because what we saw of Pete Rose is going to feel very quaint, Mayberry-esque compared to what is going to unfold, what already has unfolded, but will continue to unfold in the future. All right, comment from a different viewer. Frank 1 and the Fly 0. That's right. We got him in the second break. If you're just joining us, we were plagued by a housefly. And I think it was distracting and taking away from the quality of the show. And I had to take care of it. Comment from a different viewer. Good morning, Frank. Well, hey, good morning. We're having fun on Friday, aren't we? If we had real journalists, we would know if Trump got a proper building permit for the ballroom. As blue as D.C. is, you would think that the code enforcer would have said, "Not today, Orange Man." Yes. One thing is certain. If Trump ever wants to distract the media, he only needs to build something. That's for sure. Only 1,183 days left in Trump's term. Fun times. Thank you very much. I will say, put aside your opinion. Maybe you hate the idea of taking down the East Wing. Maybe you love it. You love the idea. You've seen the markups of what the ballroom is going to look like. Maybe you love it. Maybe you hate it. Doesn't matter. The fact that he did this so quickly really played to his benefit, didn't it? Because you saw the pictures of at least I did, of the demolition beginning, and I had no idea it was happening that quickly. And I don't think the media did either. And that was why you saw so many historic type societies after the fact, saying, no, slow down, when it was already too late. So he's a man that works quickly. That is for sure. But again, and we'll find out eventually, maybe nothing's going to be done with it. I just can't believe they're not, if nothing else, giving pieces of wood. I got to stop this. I know people probably don't care, but to different historic societies that they can sell to make money for their charity, whatever. Because I think it'd be pretty cool to own a piece of, even though it's from, 1942, so it's not obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously. If you watch the mainstream media, you wouldn't know that it's a new addition to the White House. I think you would believe that not only it's being paid for by taxpayers, which it is not, you would also believe that this is a destruction of an original part of the White House. That's my opinion. Comment from a different viewer, but I do want, basically what I'm saying is I want a piece of the White House. Comment from a different viewer. Sorry, Frank. I don't remember how the Canada ad started. Okay, that's fine. Watching a program last night and doing a puzzle, I heard them say the tariffs are not good for long term and ended with big letters, Canada and other stuff like sponsored by. Oh, yeah, like sponsored by in this Canada, because they spent, what was it, 71 or 75 million on that ad buy. My first thought was this is not good if Trump finds out. Well, you were right. That was your knee-jerk reaction. Your gut reaction was 100% right, because now Trump, because of that ad and that $70+ million ad buy, he is ending trade negotiations with Canada. Comment from a different viewer. If Trump is an authoritarian, I would rather be an authoritarian than a thief. Thank you very much. All right. Oh, hey. Oh, cool. Climate Fact Friday. Bob has sent in his Climate Fact Friday. For Friday. We will read that at the top of the hour. Thank you, Bob. I look forward to that. Oh, just something nice and touching before we move on to some not so touching stories. Turning Point USA has unveiled a new wooden cross outside its Phoenix area headquarters this week, a tribute from supporters in Texas and Ohio honoring the late, great Charlie Kirk, who was assassinated last month. New addition to the TPUSA headquarters, said the Twitter post. God bless these amazing folks who come all the way from Texas and Ohio to gift this beautiful wooden cross to the team in Charlie's honor. Isn't that nice? So that will be out in front of the headquarters. We have talked on this program, and it's been previously reported about the Charlie Kirk effect, where Bible sales rose 36% in September. Church attendance increased nationwide, and many faith leaders have referred to this movement as the Charlie Kirk effect. Pretty amazing. But we've seen with that elementary school teacher at the No Kings rally using Charlie Kirk's assassination to mock conservatives, to intimidate and threaten conservatives. Now, we have got no update from that Chicago elementary school, but the principal trying to paint that protester as the victim, saying she's receiving threats after she threatened people and mocked with a gesture on her neck, mocked the assassination, elementary school teacher, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Then, yesterday, a pink-haired individual at the University of Arizona called Turning Point USA activists Nazis and told them to, quote, watch your neck, in a blatant reference to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, while they passed by a Turning Point USA display table on campus, saying, hey, Nazis, can you set up something where I can avoid you easily? Blank you, Nazi, watch your neck, the pink-haired students said to the people manning the table. Ironically, the individual appears to try to claim moral high ground against Nazis, yet in the same breath resorts to issuing an apparent death threat over a difference in political views, mirroring the very tactics of Nazis, who systematically murdered and persecuted political opponents. A spokesperson for the university said the University of Arizona does not tolerate harassing or threatening behavior. After learning of the social media post and video, the Office of Public Safety and the Dean of Students contacted the Turning Point USA students and are actively investigating the incident. There you are. All right, when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the government shutdown, these threats to SNAP benefits. We'll be reading more of your comments. Wow, this program is going fast. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Want to read about ancient wonders? Go to your local library today. But this isn't your father's library. It's the home of creativity. Release your inner audio engineer or face off a dragon in the D&D club. Make your clothing ideas come together with our sewing machine rentals. Create with the 3D printer or come to the library event nights to chat with those within your community. All with your library card. Go to getyourlibrarycard.com today.
This is a collector consumer alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
Fox 10 p.m. News is the first primetime local news for the Twin Tiers. Our reporters, Haley and Dante, scour the Southern Tier to bring you up-to-date news regarding local businesses, economics, and how national decisions impact our area. If you're not near a TV, don't worry. You can also catch our 10 p.m. news live on WYDCTV.com/livestream. Don't miss Big Fox 10 p.m. news on WYDC, on TV, or our website.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. Thank you, as always, for joining us. As I mentioned, we have a Climate Fact Friday Bob message coming up in about 15 minutes. And then in the next hour, we're going to be talking with Greg Tranter, Buffalo Bills superfan, because the Bills take on the Panthers on Big Fox Sunday at 1 o'clock. So what an appropriate time to talk about Greg Tranter's new book about the Bills. I think this is his 6th, maybe 7th. We'll talk about it in the next hour. Okay. Recipients of the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, or SNAP, could see their benefits dry up starting next Saturday, November the 1st, if the government shutdown continues. Now, keep in mind, we brought to you early in the program, but the idea that they're shutting down for something, the reason that the Schumer shutdown is happening, just to recap, I should say, is because they want I know someone always gets mad at me because I can never remember the number, $1.5 trillion for these COVID-era subsidies for Obamacare. Now, you might say, well, we want them. You might want them for Obamacare, whatever the case may be. The fact of the matter is they do not expire till the end of the year. What we're talking about is opening the government with that clean continuing resolution, keeping the government funded at the same amount of money that we were previous to October 1st, that same amount of spending just till November 21st. So have the discussion, have the negotiation, but Schumer and Jeffrey said, nope, we're going to shut down the government. That means the military doesn't get a paycheck. It means so many people don't get a paycheck, but we point to the military, who that's despicable that happens in a shutdown. It needs to be addressed immediately after the government opens back up. But now we learn they're willing to put people, and that's why John Fetterman's been so on point lately. He said, I'm not going to, because he keeps voting to open the government back up. He says, I'm not going to do this to my constituents, take away their SNAP benefits because of something we could have negotiated, could have had a discussion about with the Obamacare, with the Affordable Care Act. So no, I'm not doing that. And he also said, I'm not going to call my friends fascists. Calling out his own party for what did he say when they lost the plot. But I'll continue. SNAP, which serves nearly 42 million Americans every month, was able to keep funds running through October because states received funding before the government shut down on October 1st. But in an October 10th letter to state and regional SNAP directors, the U.S. Department of Agriculture warned that there wouldn't be enough funding to cover full benefits in November if the stalemate persists. Some states have already announced plans to suspend SNAP payments next month, a move that could dramatically disrupt food access across the country. The program, which allocates funds to states on a monthly basis, has gone dark during any other government shutdown in modern history. Has not gone dark during any other government shutdown in modern history. Some state officials are urging recipients of SNAP, otherwise known as food stamps, to hoard shelf-stable goods and rely on food banks for additional support. If you have accrued SNAP benefits from previous months on your account, use those funds now to buy shelf-stable foods that can last through November and beyond. Food banks have blasted the proposed protocol, saying they do not have enough resources or chow to fill the gaps. Quote, "There's no way that our charitable food network or the system in this country can provide that much food overnight or quickly. It's an impossible task," Catherine D'Amato, CEO of the Greater Boston Food Bank, told the New York Post. D'Amato estimated a potential loss of 56 million meals in Massachusetts next month if funds run dry. Pennsylvania has already halted benefits, issuing a notice that starting October 16th, SNAP benefits will not be paid until the federal government shutdown ends and funds are released to Pennsylvania. Please be patient and respectful to our staff while we try to assist you through these changes caused by the federal government shutdown. So keep that in mind if you are a recipient of SNAP. I'm sure New York, I don't know. We'll find out about what New York does here soon. All right, we got to take a short break. Stay with us. We got more on the government shutdown when we come back.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
This is Jim. Famous Brands. We are ready for fall and loaded with all of your favorite brands. Great new deals are arriving every week. We have the largest selection of clothing and footwear in the Finger Lakes, all at below retail prices. Famous Brands, downtown Watkins Glen, where you're always looking good for less.
Plastic is flooding our planet, hurting wildlife and destroying delicate ecosystems. We can stop this by changing how plastic is made, used, and recycled, and building a better system from the ground up.
It's a beautiful day. Sky falls, you feel like it's a beautiful day.
A clean planet is possible. Let's build it together.
In a few words. Urkel, glasses. Nerd. It pays to know your nerds. If you guys didn't get nerd with me sitting up here on this show, 25 words or less.
Weeknights at 5 and 5.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson's studio. So Cory Booker is blaming President Trump for the impact of food stamps of the government shutdown, accusing him of, quote, withholding the money because he wants to inflict maximum pain on Americans. Do you see the lies being told? This goes to show you that they're losing the debate when they continue to fabricate so much, whether it's anything that Trump does, but specifically the government shutdown. While Senate Democrats continue to vote against the House-passed clean continuing resolution to reopen the government, Booker took to social media to call on Trump to release Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, SNAP money, to pay for children, for vulnerable people, for our neighbors to eat. Right now, the Trump administration has sent out notices to every single state, including New Jersey, that they're going to stop paying SNAP benefits. Now, look, they have billions of dollars at their behest to pay SNAP, but they're saying that they don't. The senator's video cited an article from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities arguing that SNAP's governing agency, the U.S. Department of Agriculture, could drain its contingency fund to pay for the welfare program when funding runs out on November 1st. The USDA, run by Trump appointee Secretary Brooke Rollins, has nearly two-thirds of the funds needed for a full month of benefits, in its contingency fund, adding that the administration must release those funds immediately as SNAP law requires to ensure that families can put food on their table next month. Well, this isn't about politics. This is about people. This is urgent. So please stand with me to make sure that Donald Trump releases the money to pay for children, for vulnerable people, for our neighbors to eat. Stop spreading lies about what you can't do and do what you must do. This is about who we are as people and what we stand for. Then open the government, Hakeem. I mean, they keep rejecting negotiations with the GOP. Senate Majority Leader John Thune told reporters this week that they were discussing some options, knowing nothing had been scheduled yet. If they don't give it a vote, then I'm not going to take it to the floor and try to UC it or UC a vote agreement, Hawley said, and referring to a unanimous consent from the Senate. So nothing being done as he blames Trump. Then he uses this. Well, we'll tell you the horrific rhetoric that he used in regards to the government shutdown. And we've got a Climate Fact Friday Bob message. And then I keep wording this, right? In the next hour. And we'll be talking with Greg Tranter in the next hour. So stay with us. This is, frankly speaking, hour number 1 in the books. Hour number 2, mere moments away. We'll be right back.
Want to read about ancient wonders? Go to your local library today. But this isn't your father's library. It's the home of creativity. Release your inner audio engineer or face off a dragon in the D&D Club. Make your clothing ideas come together with our sewing machine rentals. Create with the 3D printer or come to the library event nights to chat with those within your community. All with your library card. Go to getyourlibrarycard.com today.
This is a collector consumer alert. Hi, my name is Jared Johnson with SueTheCollector.com. Did you know that repossessions are on the rise in America? If your car, truck, or motorcycle has been repossessed by an agent that broke a lock, assaulted you, or trespassed on your private property, you have rights. Call us for a free case review at 1-877-BAD-REPO. You pay nothing unless we win money for you. Call me now.
We've had many wonderful memories as a family. Dropping Shelly off at school, I prayed he wouldn't get stuffed in a gym bag. Missy might have been the one in Little League.
I'm asking the Lord to watch over my little girl. Well, while you're at it, ask him for a win. I got money on this.
But Georgie is the one who threw us the real curveball.
I got a girl pregnant.
Oh, no. Are you kidding me? We may not be perfect, but to me, we have the perfect family.
And welcome to our number 2 of Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I am your host, Frank Acom, and we are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street in Corning. We have a lot to cover in this hour. We're going to hear from Greg Tranter. If you're just joining us, he's got a new book out. Oh, no, I'm sorry, it's coming out next week. I believe it is One Bills Drive, the Buffalo Bills' greatest home games. He has an amazing story. Even if you're not a Bills fan, but definitely if you're a Bills fan. But even if not, if you're just a football fan in general, you're going to hear really his passion for the sport and some pretty interesting local facts here in Elmira, in the Elmira area. So he will be joining us here in just a little bit. As I'd mentioned, this is just a reset. If you're joining us just for the 7 o'clock hour, shame on you. You missed a lot. You missed a killing of a fly. You missed a lot this morning. On Monday's program, we're going to hear from representatives from the Career Development Council who are celebrating their 50-year anniversary. On Tuesday, we're going to hear with Daniel Kane. That means we have the trifecta. That means we have the hat trick. We'll have all 3 candidates for Elmira City Court Judge on the program. We appreciate that. You'll be able to find all 3 on our YouTube page. The first 2 are already up. You can also go to WYDCTV.com. You can find it there. I post it. And then if I get a chance before Election Day, I'll try to put all 3 together so you have it in one convenient place. That's not a guarantee, though. So you'll probably have to go to YouTube to do your research or do WYDCTV.com. Okay. Wednesday, Sheriff Allard's going to be joining us. Always look forward to that. Fan favorite. Thursday, another fan favorite. Former Congressman, current Assemblyman Joe Sempolinski will be joining us next Thursday. How perfect as we near Election Day. Don't forget, early voting starts tomorrow. Okay, let's go to viewer comments. Enough about me. I Oh, wow, a lot of comments come in. Okay, we got our Climate Fact Friday from Bob coming up in just a second. But before that, Ken writes in, I can't imagine how the sheeple can side with the Democrats' shutdown, which it literally is taking food out of their mouths. I guess it's just more proof of what Rush always said. They are low information voters. Thank you, Ken. I don't think there are people, obviously, that side with the Democrats on this, but I don't think it's some runaway success for them like they thought it would be. I mean, it looks pretty split on who's getting the blame, but which is unfortunate. It should be a lot more blame on the Democrats for this because, again, they can have the negotiations about the Affordable Care Act, which not that affordable as we're learning, right? As we already knew. But they can have that discussion. That's not supposed to expire until the end of the year. There was time on that. So this whole shutdown is being caused by them, and then they come out with rhetoric that I'm going to read to you in just a little bit to try to scare the people. So you're exactly right. Thank you, Ken. Comment from Mark says, I've watched Hakeem Jeffries quite a bit lately. He is good at making up things as he talks. I'll give him some credit. He is a good fabricator and liar. Thank you, Mark. Great. Hey, nice to give credit where credit's due, I suppose. Comment from a different viewer. Many past presidents have made changes to the White House in the past. The difference is the changes were done for more selfish needs, like the bowling alley, etc. The building torn down had already been changed a few times in the past with outdated standards and reworking. Glad to see it's not using taxpayer money, and that an actual major builder with decades of experience is overseeing the project. Can't say that about the past presidents. They used taxpayer money and didn't have the resources that President Trump has. Look at the cost and time overruns on other government projects. Can't wait to see the finished product. Make the White House great again. Thank you very much. And you're right. This is about the future of the White House. It's not about a bowling alley. It's not about some of the, like you said, more, I know they have a theater in there, these type of things, which are fine. It's just more done for personal reasons. This is done for the future of the White House, to have that ballroom. Again, we heard about the costs of having things in the lawn as compared to having them in a beautiful building, the tents that needed to be put up, those type of things. So I think it's going to be a nice addition to the White House. I'm telling you, I still have my thoughts about what's going to happen if a Democrat becomes president, what they will do to that ballroom. Call me paranoid, call me jaded. I don't see the ballroom lasting as long as FDR's East Wing lasted. So 1942, I think it was. So 42 to 2025, I just don't. Okay, let's go to Climate Fact Friday. Good day, all, from Climate Fact Friday, Bob. Thanks, Bob. I can't believe I still am finding more climate propaganda. Some pseudo-scientist claims CO2 is destroying the ocean's wildlife. Coral and other sea organisms thrive when CO2 is 2,000 ppm, and higher CO2 is currently around 420 ppm. Land-based plants thrive when CO2 is around 800 to 1,000 ppm. The problem is CO2 has been looked at as a poison by the climate change cult. We are in a CO2 deficit. Yes, we need more CO2. CO2 only makes up 0.043% of all gases in the atmosphere. CO2 does so much good for nature and humans. Please, everyone, have a fantastic and safe weekend. Thank you, Climate Fact Friday, Bob. We always appreciate it. Talking about the government shutdown, on the Situation Room yesterday, Hakeem Jeffries, the House Minority Leader, was talking about the government shutdown. And in today's climate, when we just got done talking about Charlie Kirk's assassination, we see the 2 attempts on the president's life. Johnson using some pretty heated rhetoric, but he said he played a clip, or they played a clip on CNN of Speaker Johnson saying, no, we're not going to allow Chuck Schumer to play selfish political games and hold the American people hostage. We will not negotiate with legislative terrorists. Jeffrey said, quote, that type of language is reckless, it's irresponsible, and it's going to get someone killed. What? That almost sounds like a threat. That type of language is reckless, it's irresponsible, and it's going to get someone killed. What do these folks not understand as it relates to the language that they continue to use? We should be able to battle it out in the context of ideas as opposed to trying to use these extreme terms that have been unleashed on the American people from the very beginning of this presidency. And as a matter of fact, for a long period of time, by the current president and those sycophants who continue to do nothing more than rubber stamp his extreme agenda and hurt the American people. These are folks in the House, in terms of the Republicans, that have been on vacation for the last 4 years. They've actually canceled votes 4 consecutive weeks in a row. And as Democrats, did I say 4 years? For the last 4 weeks, excuse me. They've actually canceled votes 4 consecutive weeks in a row. And as Democrats, we've been here, Leader Schumer, Senate Democrats, House Democrats, making clear we are ready, we are willing, and we are able to sit down with anyone, anytime, any place in order to reopen the government. An act of spending agreement that actually improves the quality of life for the American people, that actually lowers costs for the American people, which if we just had a continuing resolution, we could have had that discussion. But what does that mean? Whatever you think about Johnson using that term, whatever you think about him saying that we will not negotiate with legislative terrorists, that is where Jeffrey draws the line. Never mind, Jeffries draws the line. Never mind the rhetoric that's been coming from his party that we've highlighted on this program over and over again. It's that kind of rhetoric that, quote, is going to get someone killed. Isn't that in and of itself the horrific rhetoric that he is proposing that he's against? My goodness. Now, our congressman and friend of Frankly Speaking, Nick Langworthy, he released a statement yesterday on the Schumer shutdown. Congressman Nick Langworthy said Chuck Schumer should be ashamed of himself. He's used the filibuster and voted 12 times to keep the government closed, blocking pay for our troops and air traffic controllers, letting SNAP and WIC funds run out, and putting the HEAP heating program in jeopardy. Families and the elderly are suffering from Schumer's craven political games. House Republicans have already voted to fully fund the government. This is Schumer's shutdown, plain and simple. If he wants to make a deal, he should reopen the government first. Extortion is a crime, not a negotiation tactic. I like that line from Congressman Langworthy. Extortion is a crime, not a negotiation tactic. Excuse me. I thought that was a very good quote from the congressman, and we do appreciate that, because the media has been trying to represent, many on social media, trying to represent this as just the Republicans' fault, not acknowledging the fact that it is Schumer's shutdown because there needs to be 60 votes because of the filibuster. And Republicans do not have 60 votes in the Senate. So it is Schumer's shutdown, but I thought Congressman Langworthy hit it out of the park when he said extortion is a crime, not a negotiation tactic. Thank you for that. Oh, an update from a story that we had brought to you in the past. An illegal alien truck driver accused of causing a crash in Florida that killed 3 people failed his commercial driver's license test 10 times in 2 months before finally receiving a license in 2023 in Washington State. Caused a crash that killed 3. This is Harjinder Singh, who we mentioned, I think it was yesterday. He failed his driver's test, CDL driver test, 10 times in 2 months before finally receiving it. An illegal alien truck driver. He failed his air brakes knowledge exam twice. The list goes on and on. Unbelievable. We got to take a break. I can't run too late because Greg Tranter is coming up. So stay with us. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
I'm Marianne Crawford. I've lived here for 70 years, but I do fine right here in my house, and I want to be here as long as I can be. And I feel comfortable knowing that if something happened to me, someone would know because of the cameras that are installed in various spots in my home. That has been a wonderful gift to me to be able to have that security and that support from Full Circle America, and that's what it's all about.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
Experience scary good deals this October only at Blaze Alexander Family Dealerships of Mansfield.
7 great brands at one convenient location. If a used vehicle is what you're looking for, we have 200 in stock and thousands more available at our fingertips, with prices as low as $6,500. And get up to 20% over KBB trade value on your trade-in today. Don't miss out on this year's Trunk or Treat, October 24th, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. at all 3 of our Mansfield locations. So don't get haunted by high prices. Save some green off Route 15 in Mansfield while we're taking the deals the other guys won't.
It's the last tea party for Crystal with Miss Marshmallow.
Oh, wow.
And Sarah's first day of management training at Goodwill. When you donate to Goodwill, you help provide skills training and career placement. And the things you love start a new life too.
The Big Fox website is here now. WYDCTV.com. Local and national news that keeps you informed and involved. WYDCTV.com. Today's weather, up to date and in your town. WYDCTV.com. Sports news, local events, and health stories that affect you. WYDCTV.com. The Big Fox website. Your news here now. WYDCTV.com.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back. Oop, no, we're not. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Market Street Recording. We're going to be talking with Greg Tranter in just a few moments. I did want to highlight some viewer comments, and also this was the text I was looking for earlier. The National Prescription Drug Take-Back Day is tomorrow, from 10 a.m. till 2 p.m. at the Steuben County Sheriff's Office. That's a public safety building, 7007 Rumsey Street Extension in Bath. Free and anonymous disposal of unneeded medication. You see all the information right there on the screen. So I wanted to highlight that because we have a busy weekend of events. Yesterday we learned about the Days of Incandescence here on Market Street in the Riverside Park. By the way, if you go to Riverside Park at the Days of Inconvenience, make sure, you can't miss it, make sure to stop over and see the Dwayne Eddy historical marker, which is right in that park. So how perfect. Let's go to viewer comments. Mark writes, if the ballroom was for Trump personally, he would have put in a golf course. A putt-putt golf course in it. Yes, I'm sorry, I misread it. Yes, would have put a putt-putt golf course, work on his short game in there if it was for him. Of course, the ballroom is for future presidents, even if you look at the timeline of its creation. Okay. Comment from Ken, if a Republican said what Jeffrey said, the Democrats and the legacy media would be saying it was a dog whistle, suggesting that they want someone to take their comment and act on it. You're exactly right. That's why I asked at first, is it a threat? That's what it sounded like. That's what it came off as. So I appreciate that, Ken. And you're right about dog whistle. I should have brought up that term. They use that dog whistle term a lot, don't they? Comment from a different viewer. Quid pro quo is illegal. And with respect to the shutdown, this is exactly what the Democrats are guilty of. So quid pro quo is illegal. And with respect to the shutdown, this is exactly what the Democrats are guilty of. Thank you for those comments. We do have a short break coming up. Oh, I guess in Chicago, when masked agents, ICE agents, descend on Chicago, they just say masked agents. They don't say ICE on CNN. The residents there disrupt the operation with hollering and blaring car horns. Okay. I guess that's screaming ICE is here, blanking helicopters, ICE at Owen Park. I guess to warn their fellow residents who may be illegal aliens. J.B. Pritzker talking about rhetoric. We were just talking about Hakeem Jeffries' rhetoric. J.B. Pritzker ridiculed Trump's claim the ICE agents are going after the worst of the worst in the crackdown, saying they're literally going after black and brown people because of the color of their skin. This is J.B. Pritzker. He's trying to make a name for himself so he can run for president. So he's using the extreme rhetoric. He was kind of the early face of the resistance. Pritzker, who created the Illinois Accountability Commission to track ICE agents, insisted there are instances of misconduct all the time. Let me see. I thought I had the exact quote here. He has called the ICE crackdown, he's compared it to Nazi Germany, and called ICE agents and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's thugs. Pritzker said, we want the bad guys off the street. What we don't want is for people to get racially profiled. That's what's happening right now. I'm talking about what we are doing, taking away people's rights, arresting people, asking them for papers. Early on in an authoritarian regime, wherever it is throughout the world, throughout history, this is what happens. It's the beginning of something very bad for our country, especially a constitutional republic. Man, they just go to the extremes, don't they? So anyway, he compares ICE, says ICE is racially profiling, and then compares agents to Nazis. He also had to admit that we don't have a border problem since Trump took office. Look, one thing I'll say is that I asked President Biden and wrote a very public letter to deal with some of the problems at the border. We were seeing tens of thousands of people being sent by Governor Abbott to Chicago, and we weren't getting any help. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, we don't have a border problem since Trump took office. But then he also went on to push this violent rhetoric, saying, I'm not undercutting integrity of election by saying Trump will steal it. Trump is going to steal it by sending troops to our cities. Wow. The rhetoric and the fear that they instill in their constituents. Got to take a break. Greg Tranter coming up. Stay with us. Keep those comments coming in, and we'll be right back.
I see it all, but I'm human.
How can I keep going like this?
Who will listen to me when no one gets it?
Is there a safe space for me?
How will I handle it all? We all have a reason. 988 can help you find it. We hear you. Call, text, or chat 988 for emotional support and crisis services. It's free, confidential, and here for you 24/7.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
Can you help me?
Mom, Dad, we're going out.
Thank you.
Oh, look, they're playing chess.
What you got there?
Will you help my mom?
She's real sick, huh? Hey, crew, I'll give the first move to anyone who signs up to be an organ donor. How do you do it?
Easy. Just go to organdonor.gov.
You heard them, organdonor.gov.
More donors means more hope. Sign up at organdonor.gov.
In a few words. Urkel, glasses. Nerd. It pays to know your nerds. If you guys didn't get nerd with me sitting up here on this show, 25 words or less.
Weeknights at 5 and 5.
The Frankly Speaking Group Camp, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. Welcome back to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. We are broadcasting from the Hesselson studio, and in that virtual studio this morning, we have Greg Tranter. Good morning.
Good morning, Frank. How are you?
Good. Thanks so much for being on the show. I thought this would be so appropriate as right here on Big Fox, Bills take on the Panthers this Sunday at 1, so who better to speak to than you?
Yeah, thanks. I'm excited about it. Appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, so tell us about, because your story is quite amazing. You know, obviously in our area, not everybody, but a lot of people call themselves Bills super fan, right? But I think you've put your money where your mouth is in many different ways. Tell us a little bit about your passion about the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, so I've been a Bills fan since I was 8 years old. My dad took me to a game, and I fell in love with the team and the sport.
Sure.
And obviously I've been a fan ever since. I also started collecting from my first game. Actually still have the ticket stub, the program, and the bobblehead my dad bought me.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, like typical kids at that time, I collected football cards. And when my dad took me to a game, which wasn't very frequently, maybe once a season, once every other season, I would collect the game program and the ticket stub. But I really got interested in football, got interested in kind of sports history. And then when I graduated from college and I had my own money, then I started collecting.
Yeah.
And really got into collecting. I wanted to collect the history of the team. Then I became a season ticket holder. and I started buying basically everything that had a Bills logo on it.
Oh no!
And at first, it was all the trinkets and football cards and stuff like that. And then I got really serious about I wanted to collect every program from every Bills game because I wanted to collect the history of the team.
Yeah, wow.
And then I got into three-dimensional objects like game-worn jerseys and football helmets. And so over the course of 50 years, I've amassed the largest Buffalo Bills football memorabilia collection in the world, which is basically about 108,000 artifacts. 8,000 three-dimensional objects and about 100,000 ephemera or like paper.
Right.
So that would be football cards, programs, newspapers, stuff like that.
Did I hear someone told me the other day that they're not doing the hard copy programs anymore?
That's correct. They stopped actually. The Bills did. Some teams still do. The Bills stopped with the season of the pandemic.
Oh, okay.
So of course they didn't have fans then, so they didn't print anything then.
Mm-hmm.
Now what they do is they have a media guide that they print for the media that cover the team.
Okay.
That includes about 20 pages that are specific to that game.
Mm-hmm.
So it really replaces the program for the media.
Okay.
Luckily, I have a friend in the media who ends up giving me
the copy.
Those copies, yes.
But there's no chance of opening up the book to page 39 and winning some big award or whatever it was.
No.
And those days are gone.
Those days are gone.
It's heartbreaking.
And of course, they also don't print tickets by and large.
Right.
However, they do for me.
So you've got even special collector's edition tickets at this point.
Right.
And here, we'll throw it on camera here, but actually have the book on relics. So tell us, maybe just for some people that are tuning in, like some of the neater or maybe more rare collectibles that you have in your artifact collection.
Yeah, I mean, probably among the most rare is the Bills wore blue and silver jerseys in 1960 and 61 only because Ralph Wilson was part owner of the Lions, and so he brought Detroit's colors to Buffalo.
Okay.
And the first 2 years they were blue and silver, and I have a blue and silver jersey that Art Baker wore. And for those people who are Syracuse University fans, Art Baker was a fullback for SU during the Ernie Davis years when they won the national championship.
Okay.
Well, he played for the Bills, and I have his jersey of the blue and silver variety.
Wow.
Of course, I have every program from every Bills game played until they didn't print anymore, which is pretty rare, both home and away, not just the home games. Probably one of the more unique artifacts is, for those who remember, Jack Kemp. So Kemp was a quarterback for the Bills in the 60s, led them to 2 AFL championships. Well, he ended up running with Bob Dole as his vice presidential candidate in 1996. Well, the Secret Service guarded Kemp during the campaign.
Okay.
He had 2 lapel pins that are Buffalo Bills standing Buffalo helmets.
Okay.
Lapel pins that he wore.
Yeah.
And I got those from a Secret Service agent that guarded Kemp.
So do you find that because you have such an amazing collection that people start to seek you out to want to include things in the collection?
Sure.
Yeah. Does that become overwhelming?
Sure. No, not overwhelming because it's fun.
Yeah. Sure. Do you have a personal favorite?
Well, yeah. So I have Scott Norwood's helmet from Super Bowl 25.
Wow.
And I've had people say, like, why would you want that?
Right.
Like, I would burn it or bury it or whatever.
Yeah.
And I tell them, I said, no, it really is what Buffalo's all about. It's a very resilient community. It keeps bouncing back from negative news. You know, it's had a tough time economically for a number of years. And that was Norwood and the Bills.
Yeah.
There's not a more resilient team in NFL history. You know, lose 4 Super Bowls and keep coming back for more. Right?
And their fans keep coming back for more, too.
Right. That's right.
Now, is there a place that people can see some of these artifacts?
Yeah, so the Buffalo History Museum. So I've actually donated the collection to the Buffalo History Museum.
Oh, wow.
And they have an exhibit called Icons, which is all about Buffalo sports history, professional sports history. It's not just about the Bills, but my collection is at the centerpiece of the exhibit.
I would hope so.
Yeah. And so there's like game-worn jerseys of, Bruce Smith, Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Kent Hull, Henry Jones, O.J. Simpson, Jack Kemp, are all on display.
Now, are you still attending all the games?
Yeah, I go to all the home games. I'm still a season ticket holder, so I go to all the home games, and then I usually go to 3 or 4 away games. In fact, I was just in Atlanta last Monday night.
Oh, wow.
The Bills game there.
How do you think, through your collecting and attending all these games, how do you think you've kept the passion all these years?
I don't know. I love it.
Yeah.
And well, I think part of it too is Buffalo is such a community that it's you're not just going to a football game.
Right.
It's like a community event. And there's so many people there that and then even people you don't know, as but Buffalo people are so genuine and accepting and so on and so forth that it's just a big community party every Sunday.
Right. And so you've got how many books out in total?
So I have 7 books out. One's coming out actually this week or next week.
Okay.
Which is a book about the 50 greatest games played at Highmark Stadium from 1973 to 2025.
How do you put something like that together? Because also I read that you want to do a bio for every Bills player that played during the 60s. All of that seems completely overwhelming and impossible.
Well, the biographies, I'm working with a group of people, so I'm not writing them all by myself.
Okay.
Which helps. And actually, the book I just did on the 50 greatest games, I teamed up with a friend of mine, Bud Bailey, Bud was a Buffalo News reporter for a number of years. So we teamed up together. Actually, it's the 3rd book that he and I have done together. So that makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But I mean, my passion is really, I love the history and the research, finding it, and then the writing actually becomes relatively straightforward.
Well, because it's kind of fascinating when you hear about players back, especially in the 60s and early days of football, where they even had to have like a part-time job, right, to stay as a professional football player. We don't need to talk about how money's changed, I'm sure, a lot. But I would almost think it would be difficult to track down a biography or to come up with a biography for every player in the 60s.
Yeah, it's interesting, though, like with newspapers.com, which has so many of the newspapers now online, I basically go back to, like, what was their hometown?
Oh, sure.
And their hometown has a tendency, like, if the Buffalo News didn't say much about them,
right,
their hometown newspaper
of course did. Right, yeah,
right,
hometown boy makes good, right? You got to,
right, exactly.
And you've written for a lot of magazines, and this is a little off topic, but I saw in your biography you wrote about the first professional football game played under the lights, and I thought this was interesting only because of where we are broadcasting from.
Yeah, no, what's amazing to me is Elmira, New York, is the first city to host a professional football game played at night.
Wow.
And it was November 21st, 1902. And it was played at what was called the Maple Avenue Driving Park.
Okay.
Which was basically a bicycle track.
Okay.
Bicycle racing was very popular.
Yeah.
And it's where Dunfield's located today. So the amazing thing to me when I found out about it, it's like, oh my God, I played high school baseball at Dunfield.
Yeah, right.
I played on that same field.
How cool is that? So where do you get your ideas when you're coming up for a new book or you're writing for magazines or you're doing all this? Is it just something that you find that you get a passion for at some point?
Yeah, it's interesting where they come up. I mean, this latest book, I knew I wanted to write something about Highmark Stadium when it was closing.
Right.
Because I've spent so much time in my life in that stadium, I definitely wanted to write something. And it just came that the 50 greatest games seemed like the thing to do.
Right.
Some of the other ones, like the Buffalo Sports Curse that I wrote, that came out when actually in 2003 when the Yankees beat the Red Sox, the American League Championship Series, on the home run by Aaron Boone. It was like, oh my God, the Red Sox are cursed. And then I read a book about the first World Series that Boston played in. I had no idea they were born in Buffalo and moved to Boston.
Oh, I didn't either.
So then it was like, oh my God, there's a curse here then. I think Buffalo sports is cursed.
Yeah.
So the ideas just, they just kind of almost come out of nowhere.
Wow. So because you've got this new book coming out, what do you think of the new stadium? Obviously, you haven't seen it yet, but I'm saying, what do you think of the idea of moving to a new stadium?
Well, I was actually opposed.
Yeah.
One, because of the history of the current stadium, and I spent so much time there. The second is I knew the cost to the fan would skyrocket.
Right.
Because that's the NFL model. Like, if you go back and look at the last 20 years, every time the NFL puts up a new stadium, the ticket prices double.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what's happening in Buffalo. I mean, I'm sure the amenities will be wonderful. The seats will be more comfortable. All of that. I just hope that Bills Mafia is not priced out.
Right. And because I was shocked to hear about kind of the hoops you have to jump through for season tickets with the cost and like that. That seems...
And you got to pay a personal seat license.
Yeah.
And that, of course, that varies depending on the seats in the stadium, but it's anywhere from, $2,500 to $50,000 per seat.
Wow.
And then the ticket prices themselves have almost doubled.
Yeah.
So like today, I pay $175, and the new stadium is $320.
Well, and
per ticket.
And that's what I always thought was so nice about having Buffalo so close to us, because very often I knew a lot of people that had season tickets, and you might get a ticket for cheap because someone can't go that week, and you have those family and friends that meet up at every single game. I'm afraid that some of them, instead of bringing your 2 kids and your wife, I mean, how can you even afford it? Season ticket holder.
It's going to be $1,000, $1,500 day.
Yeah.
And how many people can afford that, right? So that's what, so I'm just worried about that. But like I said, you can see it from the outside. The stadium, I'm sure, will be beautiful.
Yeah.
But I just hope it doesn't take the atmosphere that we have, because our atmosphere is so unique.
What does because you've been to so many games, what does your game day when you're attending look like?
Well, it's a little bit different today. What it used to be when I was younger is we would show up at the stadium at 8:30 in the morning, and we would tailgate,
of course,
from 8:30 to noon.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I mean, and it was like I didn't necessarily tailgate with all the same people all the time. It was like, sure, we had our group, but then it was the people that park next to you, and you get to know them, and you tailgate with them, and you share food and drinks, and then we would, of course, attend the game. And then it was funny, after the game, I would stay after the game and walk around the stadium picking up extra ticket stubs and anything that somebody left behind that was related to the game.
Oh, my gosh. So other people consider it garbage, and you're going, I need that for my collection.
Right, exactly.
Has there ever been something that you had in your grasp, collector's item-wise, that you weren't able to get? Like it was that one dream item?
Well, geez, I don't know. That's, sure. I mean, there's a jersey that I have a Bills jersey of every kind that they've made, except one. In 62 and 63, they have a jersey that has stripes on the shoulders, and they only wore it for 2 years, and I've never found one.
Wow. Well, if anybody's watching, right?
Right, exactly.
We'll get you in contact. Oh, so that's interesting. So that's the only one you're missing. This is also fascinating. So with the new book, which is coming out very soon, how long does something like that take to write? Because there are so many games to cover and kind of do. I know it wasn't just you alone, but still, it must take a while.
It's usually a book is about a 2-year process.
Okay.
It takes about a year to do the research, the writing, and all that, and then the publishing process is about a year.
Oh.
The publisher reviews it, they edit it, they send it back. I also am responsible for finding all the photos that I want to go in the book.
Okay.
So that takes some time. So it's basically a 2-year process. The 2 books that have taken longer than that is the Curse book, because it was so much research, because it covers every professional team in Buffalo sports history from 1900 forward.
Wow.
And before I can tell about how each team is cursed, I had to basically tell you what the team was and their history, right? The second one, which is a book that will come out next year, I'm doing a biography on Ralph Wilson, who was the original owner of the Bills and, of course, owned the team for 54 years.
Yeah.
That book has taken 4 years to research and write, because he has an incredible history, not only in professional football, in his business life, in his military service, it's an incredible story that people don't fully understand.
I'm surprised there hasn't been a book out on him.
I am too, which is part of the reason I wrote it.
Yeah.
Because when he was elected to the Hall of Fame, and then 10 years later, he's the only owner in the Hall of Fame that doesn't have a biography written.
Oh, wow.
So I approached his widow, Mary, 5 years ago and said, hey, is somebody writing Ralph's biography? And she said no. And I said, I'd be happy to write it. And she said, that would be great.
Perfect.
So that'll come out next fall.
Have you found that you've gotten, through the years of doing your research like that, got to know the teams and former players and things like that pretty well?
Yeah, it's amazing. If you would have told me, 10 or 15 years ago that I would know Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas and Lou Picone and Mark Bramer and I would have said no way.
Yeah. Right.
One of the funniest things is my season tickets.
Yeah.
Jim Kelly and his family sit directly behind me.
Behind you? Wow. That's power there. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, out of all the games that you've attended, do you have one that sticks out as the most memorable experience?
Well, to me, and it's actually not even the number one in the book.
Yeah.
But for me, the number one game is the 51-3 win over the Raiders to win the AFC Championship and go to Super Bowl I.
Yeah.
Because at halftime, we were ahead 41-3.
Yeah.
We knew we were going to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And that season, believe it or not, I booked a flight and a hotel the day after Thanksgiving, confident that we would go to the Super Bowl.
Wow. Some would say that's jinxing it.
Right. I was that confident. And then, of course, they lose that Sunday. And it's like, no.
Well, you can always get a refund, right?
Right.
What do you think? Everybody probably asked you this, but what do you think about the team this year?
Well, I was feeling really good until the last 2 weeks. Obviously the bye week came at a really good time. They need to reset.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that Brandon Beane will pick up a receiver. I'd love him to get Chris Olave. He would be a great ad. They need a stud receiver. And I'm just hoping that Sean and Bobby Babich can put the defense together. Obviously they've had a lot of injuries. They got a lot of players coming back in the next couple weeks. So I'm still confident. We'll find out in a couple weeks when they play the Chiefs.
Right.
We'll find out where we are, but with Josh, anything's possible.
And they take on the Panthers this Sunday right here on Big Fox. That's at 1. So through all the games that you've watched and you've attended, what do you think of the changes? People always talk about this, but the changes to football through the years.
Well, obviously it's become a hugely offensive game. It's now entertainment. It's not a football game. Right. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
I'm a historian. I like the 1970s and 80s. Where you had a combination of now it's almost too offensive. It's really hard for the defense, and then the way the kickers can kick 60-yard field goals.
Wild.
No lead is safe. No lead is safe. I mean, look at the Giants game this past weekend.
Yeah.
You thought they won the game and they lost it.
Yeah.
Well,
before we go, 2 last questions here. You've got the Ralph Wilson book next year. What's up after Ralph Wilson? What's next?
Well, I think I'm going to actually do a baseball book.
Oh, okay.
Buffalo had a baseball team. The last major league team in Buffalo history was in 1914 and 1950 called the Buffalo Buffheads.
Oh.
They were in the Federal League.
Okay.
Which is considered a major league.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty cool story.
Okay.
And I'm into cool stories.
Yeah. Well, it sounds it.
So I think I'm gonna do that next, unless of course the Bills win a Super Bowl, then I have to do it. They broke the curse book.
Yeah. The part 2. Would you say out of all your books, was that the most popular? The Curse?
No, actually the most popular is the Timeline book.
Oh, okay.
The Buffalo Sports Timeline, the Bills Sports Timeline. And I think because it's heavily illustrated with lots of great photos.
Yeah.
I would say my best researched and written book is the Curse book.
Yeah, gotcha. So before we go, where can people purchase the new book, Bills Drive, the Buffalo Bills Greatest Home Games, 1973 to 2025?
So, of course, it's on Amazon. It'll be in Barnes & Noble. In fact, in January 30th, I'll be doing a book signing at the Barnes & Noble in Horseheads.
Oh, I'll have to make a note of that. So if you think of it, make sure to drop me an email. When is it?
It's January 30th. It's the Saturday, the week before the Super Bowl.
Perfect.
Hopefully the Bills will be going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, perfect. And maybe we'll have you stop by the studio and do something quick to promote it.
That'd be great. I'd be happy to do that.
Well, thanks for giving us so much time, and thanks for the books. I can't wait to dive into them, and best of luck with the new one.
All right, Frank. Hey, thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
When you're online, don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Catch up on news from the Twin Tiers. Vote on the daily question and hear about local events. All on Facebook.com/Big Fox News.
Hi, this is the owner of Hesselson's in Amara Heights. At Hesselson's, we care about your well-being and overall health, whether it's relieving stress, muscle recovery, increasing circulation, or just revitalizing the body. Hesselson's now has 2 complete line of infrared and traditional rock saunas in our new and expanded showroom. Come in today and see why owning a sauna is a start of your new healthy lifestyle. Hesselson's is still locally and family-owned and operated in Amara Heights. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
I have been hugely blessed to have all this, and I want to share it. Safety first, goggles, mask, because the sawdust can do a number on you. They're welcome to try any of my tools. I just don't want them hurt. You gotta know what they're doing. Just a total blessing for me.
Dear Coach.
Dear Coach, they don't teach you that inner strength is the most important kind of strong, but you taught me that.
They don't teach you how to build confidence in yourself or how to deal with all the pressures all at once, but you taught me that.
First tee was more than golf. It's where I discovered what I'm capable of.
You didn't just prepare me for 18 holes. You were preparing me for every day of my life. Learn more at firsttee.org.
Name a food you might make your edible underwear out of.
Salmon.
Wild caught Norwegian teriyaki.
Sharing the fun. Weeknights on Family Feud.
What a beautiful view of historic Marcus Street in the heart of the Gaffer District. That view brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio on Marcus Street in Corning. Thank you again to Greg Tranter for being on the program this morning. And don't forget, we got the Bills right here for you on Sunday at 1 o'clock as they take on the Panthers. We've got in this segment, because we're almost out of time, and we already got to take another break because I ran long in that interview. I want to... I'm sorry. Yeah, we have a little time. Okay, I want to go to viewer comments. Here we go. Rick writes in, good morning, Frank. Well, good morning, Rick. I saw the list of donors for the crummy ballroom. Why is it crummy, though, out of curiosity? They will all want something, and Trump will make sure they get it. There's no oversight on this project that I can see. Congress should have to approve this project. Legally, I'm sure there are review and approval processes for a project like this. Approval of the plans, approval from Congress, drawings, setbacks, environmental impact, and on and on and on. I see Trump pardon another knot. Maybe someday Trump will need to be pardoned. He always acts like he doesn't know these people, which is baloney. The clown he pardoned today was a bad boy. Zhao's Binance company has all of the Trump's crypto holdings, which has a value north of $5 billion with a B dollars. I don't know why he would pardon Zhao, do you? Trump is still, without a doubt, the biggest liar, crook, and briber on the planet. He should fly right like we all have to, or he should be removed and sent back to Mar-a-Lago. It just gets worse every day. How can people support Trump? Let's see what the inflation data says today. That's from Rick. Mark writes in, if the ballroom was for Trump personally, he would have a putt-putt golf course. And I think I read that one already, but I liked it anyway. That's how much. I'm reading it again. Comment from a different viewer. Making America great again works best when Democrats stay home. I see they were protesting and the East Wing disappeared. Smiling, laughing faces. Wonder what else he can do before they come back. They are going to regret not being in session to use what little power they have. Wonder what Democrat monument is getting replaced by the military ark. They don't care. They are campaigning at protests, and the sheep think they are fighting outside of the ring. Trump is fighting to pay the military, and WIC Democrats even voted that down. Looks like MAGA is going to enjoy Thanksgiving. The Walmart CEO said the cheapest in years. Too bad Democrats canceled the November SNAP. Yeah, SNAP benefits. Oh, comments, waves coming in. Regarding J.B. Pritzker, this viewer writes, ICE is not profiling black and brown people. It just so happens that illegal immigrants come from countries located to the south of the U.S., where the so-called people of color come from. I think this fact doesn't even come to the minds of most people when donkeys like Pritzker spew these types of rhetorical lies. Comment from a different viewer. I'm more optimistic about the ballroom's future than you are, Frank. Okay, that's fair. If there's ever a Democrat in the White House, I believe that they would be much more moderate than today's Democrats. I have to believe that the extreme left policies that have peaked and they have gone the other way. I don't know. I appreciate your point, and I think I am being a little jaded that someone will go in and tear that down if a Democrat gets in. But I don't think that extremism has gone away. Look at the rhetoric of J.B. Pritzker. Look at the rhetoric that I read earlier of Hakeem Jeffries. They believe that is the winning ticket, and that rhetoric they will need that rhetoric to get them through the primaries. So then will they be able to cut it way back to become moderate? I don't know. Today's Trump haters, this viewer says, will move along in one way or another, especially after 8 years of Vance, followed by 8 years of Stefanik in the White House. Dream big, Frank. Well, I appreciate that. We have not thrown around Stefanik's name, but if she gets in there as governor of New York, has a great 8 years, well, a little bit more. Yeah, I kind of like that. Interesting. We're so many people begging for Stefanik to jump in the race, and she has yet to do so, but it's interesting. Now we're here having people begging for her to run for president. I love it. Comment from a different viewer. Morning, Frank. Well, good morning. I'm going to call Hochul's office today and thank them for the great inflation reduction check. Then I'm going to inform them that I'm donating to Elise Stefanik's campaign for New York State governor. I love it. Many people have said on this program that they are going to donate that $200 check, $200 to $400 check to Elise Stefanik's campaign. I think that's a brilliant use of that money. I know Hochul wants you to believe that it is life-changing money, that we have never had that kind of windfall in our mailboxes. I have not received mine yet. I think that's the second person that said they have gotten. There's maybe third. I have not received mine yet. I can't wait. I don't even know what I'm going to do with it. All right, one thing before we get ready to take a break. This coming from Corning Natural Gas Corporation. I know we talk a lot about this topic, and I know a lot of people comment on this topic. When you have the ban on natural gas, when you have all these green energy programs that are failing us as a state, that are causing our prices to skyrocket. And I know they all want to blame NYSEG personally, and I know I'm not saying they're perfect, but what I am saying is this is, of course, a lot to do with all of the green energy programs the Hochul and one-party rule in Albany has forced upon us, upgrading the grid, these type of things. Corning Natural Gas released a press release yesterday saying, beginning on December 31st, 2025, under a new building codes law banning fossil fuel use in new construction, Corning Natural Gas Corporation and other gas utilities in New York will no longer be allowed to extend natural gas services to new buildings or new homes that are 7 stories or fewer. This prohibition applies to structures that are not existing as of December 31st, 2025, and is subject to limited exemptions. For the most part, new residential and commercial buildings will not be permitted to use natural gas or other fossil fuels except for backup generators and where the local electric utility cannot reasonably provide electric service to the new structure. For heat and hot water systems in new construction, you will need to reach out to your electric provider or consider other non-fossil fuel construction or options, like geothermal or wood. There is a proposal in the New York State Legislature to exclude new building from the prohibition on fossil fuel use for which a site plan, tentative map, or subdivision plat has been approved, or for which a building permit has been issued prior to December 31st, 2025. But that legislation has not been enacted to date. Corning will continue to accept and honor new gas service applications for all new construction that qualifies as existing by December 30th of 2025. that have appropriate permits and comply with standard company evaluation procedures and regulations. Corning will factor into its decision-making any updated legislative or regulatory directives, impacting new services. As a safeguard measure, the company will continue to accept and hold any other applications for new building service lacking permits or plans if received on or before December 30th, in case favorable legislation is enacted by year-end. Due to the high degree of uncertainty, this is no way guaranteeing the ability to provide new service. For all other structures in 2026 and beyond, we will evaluate applications on a case-by-case basis to ensure compliance with the new requirements. So it's coming up quick. Think of the businesses that we've talked about so often in this program, because this is not a new topic at all for us. We always think of Assemblyman Phil Palmisano, who's on the Energy Committee in Albany, who talks about this so often, but it's starting to become reality for many who have seen this slowly creeping into our lives, and we know what that's going to do for our business climate. All right, we got a lot of comments coming in. We got to take our last break, getting ready to wrap up today's edition of Frankly Speaking. Stay with us.
What better way to start or end every day than relaxing in your very own Hesselson's hot tub? Massage therapy, relaxation, stress reliever, pain management, soothing muscles, or just spending time with a loved one. Hot water therapy really does make every day better. Hesselson's has been a part of this great community for over 70 years, still being locally owned and operated. So make the drive to Hesselson's and start making your path to a better life today. And after 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
We are the keepers of the wild, America's original and most invested conservationists. For more than 80 years, we've been committed to conserving wildlife and the natural landscapes that define our nation. From rugged alpine ridgelines to peaceful tall grass prairies, we've supported the conservation of more than 36 million acres of American wildlands. Our funding has led to cleaner water, fresher air, and improved wildlife habitat. From abundant fish and waterfowl populations to robust deer and elk herds, nothing is more important than maintaining wild spaces for adventurers to explore and wildlife to thrive. We are America's hunters and target shooters, stewards of the American outdoors.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. So many comments to get to. We may be wrapping up our show just with comments. All right, let's get right to them. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning. Who approved the removal of the furniture from the White House, among other things? That's a great question. I do not have an answer for that. You know my repeated suggestion that they sell pieces of the wood like that were torn down, use it for maybe some historical charity, use it for, well, right now I guess SNAP benefits, as one person suggested. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you on that. We'll try to dig into that a little bit deeper. Wow, so many more comments. All right, they keep coming in. Great. All right, comment from a different viewer. They have a question for Rick. And he notices that Rick never talks about how horrible Hochul is. What does he think of her, or is he just at the national level, just only talks about the national level? His thoughts on Hochul. I'll throw that out there if Rick's watching. A comment from a different viewer. Quid pro quo is illegal, and with respect to the shutdown, this is exactly what the Democrats are guilty of. Thank you very much. Comment from a different viewer. Happy Friday, everyone. Well, happy Friday to you. Did you see that President Trump has called off all negotiations with Canada after they ran an ad that had false information about tariffs? Yeah, we talked about this at the very beginning of the show because it was breaking late last night. It was an ad that featured, as the Reagan archives said, misleading, taken out of context, edited, never approved by them. But it did feature Reagan. Trump saw it, cut off negotiations on tariffs immediately. Continuing with this viewer's comment, essentially a propaganda ad that cost Canadian taxpayers $75 million. Yes, the ad buy was for $75 million. Wow. We need to talk about what's happening with our neighbors. I'm a Canadian living here, and this is all so bizarre. We've always been friends until Justin Trudeau and now Prime Minister Mark Carney came to power. This liberal government is bad for everyone. Well, thank you for that. It's good to hear your perspective on that $75 million ad buy. It doesn't sound like it's a good decision. It was not a good decision, but that was by Doug Ford. apparently, according to the piece that we had, who presented that ad. But it was not a good decision in the tariff negotiations, that's for sure. Mark writes in, that was a good interview with Greg Tranter. But the fact is, surprisingly, the Bills have never won a Super Bowl. Yes, I know that. I thought it was interesting. He said one of his most prized possessions was a Scott Norwood helmet from that game. Comment from a different viewer. The Dems hope their rhetoric will mobilize the sheeple into doing nefarious acts in an attempt to scare the Republicans into accepting the Democrats' demands. Thank you, Ken. I don't believe, a viewer writes, that Democrats will tear down the ballroom, but they might steal the furniture like the Clintons. Thank you very much. Comment from a different viewer. I, for one, applaud tearing down the East Wing. It was built during the Roosevelt administration and is emblematic of the emergence of an oppressive and confiscatory federal government. Thank you very much. And finally, every person in business should say no to the ban on natural gas and defy the ban. In other words, the people of New York will no longer be allowed to build homes. There's no way to defy it, because you can't, a company isn't going to put it in with that, with the repercussions hanging over their head. But I understand what you're saying. They also said, I think of it, this ban is similar to the ban on alcohol. Good point. All right. That does it for today's edition of Frankly Speaking, because I got a little housekeeping. We are out of time. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the waves this morning. Look at that. Almost up to 30 waves. Wow. Thank you to all of our guests this week. A busy week. We started off the show on Monday with Elmira College and their production of Radium Girls, which is happening this weekend. Tuesday, we had Robert Siglin running for Elmira City Court Judge. Wednesday, Chemung County Sheriff Bill Schramm. Thursday, Jordan York, also running for Elmira City Court Judge. Friday, today, we had Greg Tranter with his new book coming out about the Bills. What did he say, the 5th book? So I do want to mention, because we have Robert Siglin on and Jordan York, we are having the 3rd candidate in that race for Elmira City Court Judge. He will be on Tuesday. If you miss any of these interviews and you want to be as informed as you possibly can before you head to the voting booth, you can find them on our YouTube or at WYDCTV.com. Also, on Monday, we'll talk with Career Development Council, and then Wednesday, Sheriff Jim Allard from Steuben County, and then Thursday, former Congressman Joe Sempolinski. Have a great weekend, everyone. Don't forget, you can start early voting tomorrow, and we'll be back Monday morning starting at 6 a.m. for Frankly Speaking, only on WYDC TV. Big Fox. Oh, the last couple second waves, we beat the 30 mark. We'll see you bright and early. I look forward to it already. Have a great weekend.
Your tap water is delicious.
I know, right? It's this Culligan Smart drinking water system.
What do you think is going on in there?
I'm smelling a touch of chlorine.
Yeah, I'm detecting some PFAS.
I'm also getting notes of lead.
Perfection.
Sending it up.
Here we go.
Certified to reduce more than 70 contaminants. It's like having your own team of water experts. See the smart difference at Culligan.com.
In 1904, a loaf of bread was 15 cents, a gallon of gas was 22 cents, and Cutler's Carpet and Flooring opened as a little store with a big red door. For 72 years, we've been your go-to floor covering store. With that kind of longevity, you know we have great service, best selection, best prices, and best installation. Celebrate our 72nd birthday where you get the presents. We've lowered prices on carpet, LVT, hardwood, ceramic tile, and do the home improvements you've been considering. Get your home ready for the holidays with Cutler's 72nd birthday sale. Cutler's, we have a buddy in the flooring business.